Next, we want to talk about adjusting your feeder house belt and making the proper tension on the belt. First thing you want to do is loosen this idler bolt, lower the idler down. The next thing you want to do is on the inside up here, there are three nuts that you'll need to loosen, and then you'll use this turnbuckle to push the upper feeder house variable speed backwards. The thing you don't want to do is jump on the belt and get it loose and then raise the idler up, because in effect what you're doing is reducing the contact on the torque drive and you're going to have more belt slippage. So to adjust it, again, loosen your idler, loosen the 3 nuts on the inside in here, use your turnbuckle to push the upper belt backwards, and then raise your idler just to take the slop out of the belt. Now you know you have it properly tensioned when you either have an 1/8 inch shiv gap in here, or when the feeder house is slowed all the way down, it should be running about 520 RPMs. That's how we adjust our feeder house belt. Next, we want to talk about adjusting our feeder house chain. What you're looking at now is a 2009 model machine. What they've gone to is a spring-loaded idler system, and really all you have to do is maintain the proper tension on the spring. There's a washer right here, and that washer just needs to be in the notch on the gauge, and your feeder house is now properly adjusted. You want to make sure and do that on both sides. If you have a 2008 model machine or previous machine, it will still be the slide and the turnbuckle style that we've had for several years. So any 08 machine, you're still going to look in the top of the feeder house through the inspection door, and then adjust the slots until the chain is just coming off of the wear strip in the feeder house. But all new 09 machines will have this spring load adjustment. Next, we want to talk about adjusting your feeder house drum height. It needs to be in the up position for corn, which is now where it's currently located with the lever pointing up, and it needs to be in the down position for beans. The way you do this, you pull out on the ring, which releases the locking pin, and then pull back on the handle all the way back until it's pointing to the back of the reverser. Conversely, if you want to go back to corn, many times it is helpful to have someone lift up on the drum while you're making this adjustment, pull out on the locking pin ring, and then lift the handle back up to where it's pointing straight up and down, and that's how you'll adjust your drum. Now you want to make sure and do that on the left and right side to make sure your drum is even. But next, we want to focus our attention on the multicoupler. This area of the machine is where we attach all the hydraulic and electrical functions on the head to the combine. This area is sensitive to dirt and debris, so before you attach the header to this area, you want to make sure and wipe this off with a rag, and then also wipe off the header coupler as well. Once you slide it on, you'll insert the roll pins on the header side right here. Once you insert that, you pull out on this locking pin, pull down on it, and that will lock the multicoupler in place. Keep in mind, this should not require a tremendous amount of force. If you apply too much force and there's something binding, you'll shear this shear pin right here. Now there are some spares on the opposite side of the multicoupler that you can replace them with. More than likely what's happened is either the pins that lock the header to the combine down on the front of the feeder house have either are mismatched with the head, or there's some dirt or debris is built up in that pin area. But if you do shear that, you'll have to realign the cable, the cable right here, reinsert your shear pin, remove the obstacle, and then you should be able to remove it again. But again, just something to keep in mind is make sure that you keep this area free from dirt and debris. Now we're back on the left-hand side of the machine to adjust the rotor speed. In most conditions, for corn and beans, you're going to be able to run the rotor in the slow side, which this handle will be pushed in. Now to adjust it, you just pull out or push in on the handle. You might have to wiggle the shiv up here just a little bit to get it to fall into place. But in is the low side, which will run to about 550 RPM, and then out is the high side, and that will run from roughly 300, 350 up to approximately 1,000 RPM. Here we're looking at the chopper speed adjust. You have 2 pulleys on the bottom and you have 2 on the top. The big pulley and the small pulley together are the fast speed, and that's where you want to be for soybeans. The small pulley on the top and the big pulley on the bottom, which is the inside, is where you want to be for corn. To adjust it, you simply raise the chopper with the switch on the left-hand side. That will raise the chopper and loosen the belt off of the idler. Then you can change the belt to the desired position, then go back to the switch and relower the chopper. Okay, here we're looking at our chopper and how we're going to change the speed when we go from the low side to the high side. There's a cover right here that you'll need to remove, and you use this latch and the one on the front. To remove them, you'll have to press down on a little tab inside of here to release the latch. Then you'll have to do the same thing on the other side. You have to press the tab and release the latch. It does require something like an ink pen. The shield will rotate down and out of the way. And I've got a lever right here. In is for the corn, that's the slow position. I pull out, that is my high speed for soybeans or wheat or whatever it is I want to run the high side. So in is for corn, out is for soybeans.
We're back by the chopper. To change your speed from high to low, low to high, you just take your knob, give it a quarter turn. This door will drop down out of the way. You've got this T handle right here. All the way in is your slow range for corn. There's a middle position, which is neutral if you're going to do your chop to drop, if you're windrowing your wheat or oats. And then all the way out is your high speed for soybeans or wheat. Then you just take your door, put it right back up, put her back on. Back on your chopper, you've got your dual belts. What you want to do before season, mid-season, at the end of season, is check your belt tension. There's 2 tensioners now, one for each belt. You got your 2 idlers here. You just want to tighten this down until this piece here is flush with the washer. You want to do that on both of them, and then tighten your jam nuts back down again.
Here we're looking at the cob deflector. What the cob deflector does is, as the chopper spins, it will try to throw cobs back up to your chaffer and sieve element, and that can bend the little fingers on your chaffer. So what this will do, this is a panel that hangs down about like so, and it will knock those cobs down and keep it from getting thrown back forward. So in the corn position, you need to have this under the corn decal here in the up position. The way I adjust that, I pull out on the locking pin and I move it from one position to the other. Now for beans or wheat, you'll want to have it in the down position. You move the arm down and it locks in place. But for corn, we definitely have to make sure and put it back up here, or we could have damage to our chaffer. Alright, now we're looking at the cob deflector. We've had this on several machines here over the past few years. The procedure is very similar, although the handle is a little bit different. I still have my pin. I pull out on my pin and I move the handle all the way back, or the down position is corn. All the way forward, or the up position, is going to be for soybeans or wheat. Here we're looking at the bottom of the clean grain elevator. Now it'll be similar for the tailings elevator. You want to make sure that your clean grain elevator chain is adjusted correctly. And to check that, you slide the chain back and forth on the sprocket, but you should not be able to pull it away from the sprocket. If you cannot slide it back and forth, it's too tight and it will stretch your chain prematurely. But just make sure you can slide it back and forth, but you cannot pull it away from the sprocket. Now we're looking at the feed accelerator. The feed accelerator needs to be in the slow position when you're in the corn, when you're harvesting corn. There's a decal here to show you that the small pulley on the top and the big pulley down front is the slow position. To change that, you take this lever, you lift it up and out of its position to release the tension on the belt. Then you move the pulley to the proper position. The outside is the corn or the slow position, the inside would be for beans, and the fast position. Once you get the belt moved, retension your belt. That's how you change the feed accelerator for corn. Adjusting the tension on your feeder house drive chain, you've got 2 bolts that you'll want to loosen here. They're 24 millimeter. Loosen this one, and you'll move this one to the top. And to loosen the chain, if you need to clear the debris or change sprockets for whatever reason, then once you get ready to adjust it, you'll put this one back in the lower hole. And then in behind here, there's some holes where you can stick a punch or a screwdriver, and you can push forward on this one in the slot. Once you get it up to where this chain is just barely riding off of the plastic wear strip, then retighten your hardware. That's how we adjust our feeder house chain. Now I want to talk about the feeder house drive chain speed. We've got 2 sprockets on the 70 series. We've got the large sprocket and the small sprocket. For all applications, including corn and beans, we want to be on the inner sprocket, which is the small sprocket. The outer sprocket is only for heavy wheat or large grassy crop conditions. So on the 70 series combines, you want to make sure you're on the small sprocket for corn and beans, and that's how we adjust, or that's the setting we need to be on the 70 series. All right, now we're looking at the discharge chutes. Notice we do not have the little inspection door that we've had on previous model combines. What they've done, they've combined the inspection door and the chute into one. I've got a little locking pin right here. I removed the locking pin. I can swing the chute out of the way. When I'm done inspecting my crop conditions on my chaffer and sieve, I can replace the chute and put my locking pin back in.
We're back here in the chaffer. Your back 18 inches of the chaffer now has manually adjusted louvers. Take a 10mm wrench. You can move these. 5mm for level ground, 10mm for hilly ground. All you do is you turn this, and you can take your gauge, and you just push it right in here and set it to your 5mm or 10mm.
Alright, this is the rethresher on the 680 and 690. Notice it's located at the top of our tailings elevator. I want to have this in the top position or the corn position for all crops except for wheat. If I need to change it, I pull out on the pin, I lower the handle down to the wheat position, but for corn and soybeans I'm going to leave it in the up position. Alright, now what we're doing is out on the ladder. I want to show you how to swing the ladder around for transport position. I've got a knob right here. Where I used to have a foot pedal on the ladder landing. That's no longer there. So I'm going to use this knob. I'm going to turn the knob, and then I'm going to swing the ladder. I'm going to swing the ladder around to the position that I want.
Right in the back right hand corner on the outside of your cab, you've got your camera connections. There's actually 4 camera connections now. 3 can go to your armrest display, and 1 up to your corner display if you're running the GS3 up in the top right hand corner post. You just take your plug off, and then you plug your harness that you can get right through Sloan implement right into here. Then you can run that back to your cameras.